Hello. A while back, I had an idea of reading Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion and doing a review from a pagan viewpoint. I have since given up on this. Um, I got it from the library, started reading it, got about 2 chapters in, and just could not go on. I don't know whether it's his self-important writing style or the fact that he makes a lot of the same fallacies he accuses religious people of making. But before I completely gave up on the project, I did want to make a video where I go through his section where he claims to talk about polytheism and have my own reactions to it. This is completely unscripted, by the way, so I'm not going to promise a great video here. For your information, glasses on means I'm reading, glasses off means I'm commenting. Okay, Richard Dawkins, The God Delusion, Polytheism. It is not clear why the change from polytheism to monotheism should be assumed to be a self-evidently progressive improvement. So far, I'm with him. But it is widely an assumption that provoked Ibn Warwick, author of Why I Am Not a Muslim, to conjecture that monotheism is in turn doomed to subtract one more God and become atheism. The Catholic Encyclopedia dismisses polytheism and atheism with the same formal dogmatic atheism is self-refuting and has never de facto won the reasoned assent of any considerable number of men, nor can polytheism, however easily it may take hold on the popular imagination, ever satisfy the mind of a philosopher. Monotheistic chauvinism was recently written into the charity laws of both England and Scotland, discriminating against polytheistic religions in granting tax-exempt status, while allowing an easy right to charities whose object was to promote monotheistic religion, sparing them the religious vetting quite properly required of secular charities. It was my ambition to persuade a member of Britain's respected Hindu community to come forward and bring a civil action to test this snobbish discrimination against polytheism. Far better, of course, would be to abandon the promotion of religion altogether as a ground for charitable status. Once again, I'm with him. This isn't my problem. The benefits of this to society would be great, especially in the United States, where the sums of tax-free money sucked in by churches and polishing the heels of already well-heeled televangelists reach levels that could fairly be described as obscene. The aptly named Oral Roberts once told his television audience that God would kill him unless they gave him $8 million. Almost unbelievably, it worked. Tax-free. Why is he bringing up Oral Roberts in the section on polytheism? I mean, Oral Roberts always was a waste of oxygen, but it's... Roberts himself is still going strong, as is his Oral Roberts University of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Its buildings, valued at $25 million, were directly commissioned by God himself in these words: "Raise up your students to hear my voice, to go where my light is dim, where my voice is heard small, and my healing power is not known. Once again, I don't care. Why is he quoting what some Christian said when he does this whole section that he says he's going to talk about polytheism? On reflection, my imagined Hindu litigator would have been likely to play the "if you can't beat them, join them" card. His polytheism isn't really polytheism, but monotheism in disguise. There is only one God, Lord Brahma the creator, Lord Vishnu the preserver, Lord Shiva the destroyer, the goddesses Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Parvati, wives of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Lord Ganesh, the elephant god, and hundreds others are just different manifestations or incarnations of the one God. He obviously has never heard the concept of soft polytheism versus hard polytheism. For those of you who don't know, hard polytheism believes that the individual gods have individual identities. They exist separate of each other. Soft polytheism sees different gods and goddesses as aspects of a greater whole. And then Christians should warn to such sophistry. Rivers of medieval ink, not to mention blood, have been squandered over the mystery of the Trinity and suppressing such deviation. Okay, I'm going to skip a bit here because he keeps going on and on about, after dismissing the Hindus for being really just monotheistic, not really polytheistic, he goes on about how Christianity is really polytheistic, not monotheistic, even though the same rule applies. So I'm going to skip here and see if I can find where he picks back up. Saint Gregory. Oh, no. Yeah, I thought he was saying something about Jefferson, Thomas Jefferson, but no, that's just Jefferson's complaints about Christianity. Pope. This is supposed to be about polytheism, isn't it? I'm gone through like two pages and nothing. But it's here. How did the Greeks, the Romans, and the Vikings cope with such polytheological conundrums? Was Venus just another name for Aphrodite, or were they two distinct goddesses of love? Was Thor with his hammer a manifestation of Wotan, or was a separate god? Generally, most Asatru and Northern tradition people I've known have fallen on the side of hard polytheism. So Thor is separate than Wotan. Okay. Thor was a separate god. Who cares? Really? That is Richard Dawkins' answer to theological complaints, theological arguments about polytheism. He responds with, "Who cares?" Life is too short to bother with the distinction between one figment of the imagination and many. Having gestured toward polytheism to cover myself against a charge of neglect. What the? You dismiss the biggest polytheistic religion in the world, then go on to spend like 3 pages proving that the biggest monotheistic religion is actually polytheistic. And then you say, oh, I covered polytheism. I shall say no more about. For brevity, I shall refer to all deities, whether poly or monotheistic, as simply God. I am also conscious that the Abrahamic God is, to put it mildly, aggressive male, and this too I shall accept as a convention in my use of pronouns. More sophisticated theologians proclaim the sexlessness of God, while some feminist theologians seek to redress historical injustices by designating her female. But what, after all, is the difference between a non-existent female and a non-existent male? See, here you get the Dawkins, well, let's assume there's no God. And once you assume there's no God, then any theological argument falls short because he assumes there's no God. I'm well aware that critics of religion can be attacked for failing to credit the fertile diversity of traditions and worldviews that have been called religious. Anthropologically informed works from Sir James Fraser's Golden Bough to Pascal Boyer's Religion Explained to Scott Aaron's In Gods We Trust fascinatingly document the bizarre phenomenology of superstition real. Read such books and marvel at the richness of human gullibility. Yeah, okay, I already covered that. But that is not the way of this book. I decry supernaturalism in all its forms, and the most effective way to proceed will be to concentrate on the form most likely to be familiar with my readers. Not familiar with me. The form that impinges most threatening on all societies. Most of my readers will have been reared in one of or another of today's three great monotheistic religions, 4 if you count Mormonism, all of which trace them back to the mythological patriarch of Abraham. And yeah, the rest is just him back to bashing the Abrahamic religions. And I don't care about the Abrahamic religions. If you want to write a book criticizing the Abrahamic religions, go for it. There's plenty to criticize there. If you want to write a book criticizing polytheistic religions, go right ahead. I'll answer your criticisms. As you can see if you look at my channel, I've already got 2 videos up that are specifically countering anti-Wiccan arguments. But as you can see, even when Dawkins claims to be gesturing toward polytheism so he doesn't get complaints, he falls way short. And this isn't even giving any of my other complaints from, but yeah, it comes down to Richard Dawkins might be a great biologist, but he's a lousy theologian. I'm glad I got this off my chest. To all of you, blessed be.